Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This feels good, doesn't it? So we're previewing Manchester United's game for a watch-along tomorrow night against Cadiz, who are a Spanish La Liga side. Of course, Manchester United are out in Spain at the moment for some warm weather training ahead of the return of the Premier League. They'll play Cadiz on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and then we're going to play Real Betis on Saturday at 5 o'clock. Betis are actually 6th in the Liga, so that could be a test depending on how many internationals they've got out. But Cadiz will be very interesting. I probably pronounced it completely wrong. They are in La Liga. They are second from bottom, but they have the same amount of points as Sevilla, who are third from bottom. Look, I think that there's holes in this team here. There's three positions that I can't really fill: centre back, left back, and attacking midfielder. These are players that we have available. We'll talk about that. I think it's a nice feeder into the Burnley game that we play in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks today, we play Burnley in the Carabao Cup. We're not really going to add anybody to that. Ericsson will be back because Denmark are out. We might see a player go out. Maybe a Portuguese player will go out. If they lose to Switzerland, they'll be back. But we haven't got loads to add back in. So opportunities for these players. But what level of game do you think we're going to get? I'm quite looking forward to it. I mean, I feel, Manchester United not playing games of football is never a nice thing, and it's not a transfer window like this summer that you can focus on. So it's been a little bit weird. We filled it with the Ronaldo interview and obviously the news of United's sale, which is fantastic. I think we'd all take a few weeks of United not playing games if it means that the Glazers are going to sell. But we're heading back towards football now, and this is the start of it. So Ten Hag managing a game. I'm looking forward to the watch along tomorrow. And I think it's a mix of a game, isn't it? If you look at that team on the left, it's hard to predict it. But if you went with David De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof, Brandon Williams probably plays at left back. Who plays next to Lindelof at the back? Maybe Mengi. I don't know. Midfield, obviously got Donny and McTominay available. Would you play one of the younger lads as a 10? Maybe Iqbal. You can play Garnacho off the left. You can play Martial up front. You can play Alanga off the right. So there's not that many holes in the team, even though there's a lot of young players there. Will Ten Hag treat it like a pre-season game where everyone gets 45 minutes? Will he actually look to use the players that he's got ahead of the Burnley game? I know United are trying to get another game in before the Burnley game because we'll play Saturday against Betis, and then it's a week and a half till the Burnley game. So I don't know whether we'll get one done behind closed doors or arrange another one, but we may well get another championship game or something like that. But the championship kicks off at this weekend as well. Burnley will have played twice. So it's interesting. I think that as the World Cup, it's not over yet, but as we come to the back end of the World Cup, your attention starts focusing on what is to come. Relentless football. This desire to get top four and win a trophy, and a lot of that will start off with that Burnley game and then the Forest game after that. And how weak or strong will Manchester United be because of this World Cup? We're very much expecting to see Brazil go all the way, and therefore you'd probably expect not to see Anthony, Fred or Casemiro available until maybe the Wolves game. Certainly I'd expect them to miss the Burnley game and the Forest game. So we've got to find a way of building a team without Casemiro and Fred and Anthony over the next couple of weeks. And whether we like it or not, that Carabao Cup game against Burnley and that Premier League game against Forest, we may have to find a way of winning without our first team, which is going to be the same for others, but it's not ideal, is it? So we're going to see how we get on. As I say, Cadiz, I can't really tell you too much about them. I mean, the one player that sort of stood out to me was Brian Ocampo, but I don't know whether that stood out to me as a different player. Their goalkeeper is Argentinian. I've vaguely heard of him, but there are some of their parts, Cadiz. They're not a team that's really got players in it that I'd go, oh, I recognise that player, that player, that player. As I say, they are in the bottom three of La Liga. I don't know what their lineup's going to be on Wednesday night. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll make a lot of changes. Maybe they'll be using, a lot of their first team players. The interesting thing for them is that La Liga doesn't come back until the 30th, I think, their next game. So do they need to be keeping first team players playing? I don't know. Who knows what the quality of this game is going to be like, I suppose. But it will certainly be interesting. I think the key points for me, Anthony Martial, we need him to show fitness and stay fit. 2 games in 3 days. I would hope he plays both of them. It's imperative that Anthony Martial stays fit now. So I think that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. Will he pick Wan-Bissaka? I think he has to. We've not really seen Wan-Bissaka playing at all. Lindelof and De Gea obviously have been knocking on the first team recently. McTominay, not Donny, not. Big opportunity for those two to just, be senior players. And I think we'll see Brandon Williams at left back. As I say, he's back. Who plays next to Lindelof will be interesting because we haven't got Maguire, we haven't got Varane, we haven't got Martinez. Twansebi's still not there, so you'd suggest it might be Mengi. And then who would play at number 10 if we're going to play a midfield three? Who plays there? We haven't got Bruno, we haven't got Eriksen. So would it be an opportunity for an Iqbal to play? Would he look at that, or would it be somebody else? Yes, on the wing, we don't really have our first choice players, but we've got two youngsters who've been knocking on the first team recently. Garnacho with that great goal against Fulham. Alanga has been around the first team for over a year. And then Martial up front. So I think there's enough there to whet the appetite. And look, we can't not take notice of it. We've got a game in 2 weeks. We haven't played a game for 4 weeks. It's very important that that we get fitness up and everything, especially with Burnley having 2 games competitively in the Championship, which returns this weekend. I do look at that team on my left and think, well, how's it going to look ahead of the game against Burnley? Eriksen will come back into it, definitely, and you could drop Eriksen in ahead of Donny and McTominay, and that team's stronger. And Jadon Sancho, you would hope would be back for it as well, and you'd probably push Alanga out of the team for that. So suddenly that front six looks very competitive against Burnley, doesn't it? With McTominay, Donny, Eriksen, Garnacho, and Sancho and Martial. I think we could mix it with that. How we build our defence will be quite interesting, because I still think it would be Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Brandon Williams, and maybe Twansebi be back for that game. I was looking at it and I was like, well, Argentina are through to the quarterfinals on Friday. Even if they went out, would Martinez be back for that Burnley game? I don't think so. So I don't see us having any defenders back. Like Varane's going to play Saturday night, Maguire's going to play Saturday night again. They're not going to come back for that Burnley game. It's literally 9 days. So the back four is going to have to build a back four off what is there and not there, and we've not. It's hard to construct a back four for United at the moment. There is no body senior in that back four apart from Lindelof that's played regular games. Wan-Bissaka's been not playing. Brandon Williams been injured. There is no other centre back. David De Gea offers that experience. We've got enough goalkeepers, but we haven't really got a back four, and I think that's going to be interesting on Wednesday night as to who plays with Lindelof. And if they do okay, they may well end up with a big opportunity of playing against Burnley, because we haven't got anybody who's going to be back for that game. And I do think that Burnley game is winnable, but the defence is going to be pretty weak, isn't it? We can build a front six, but can we build a back four for that Burnley game? Because no one's going to be back from the World Cup, let's be honest. Maguire, Martinez and Varane, they're all in the quarterfinals. How many of them will be in the semi-finals? Well, Varane and Maguire can't both be, but having played on Saturday night, they're going to have at least a week off. And as I said, we need to keep an eye on Eriksen. Eriksen's been knocked out of the World Cup for nearly a week now. When will he be back in training? I don't think he'll come back until Monday, which is a week and a half off, which is what I think I'd heard that every player in the World Cup is going to get about 10 days off. So I think the best we can hope for that defence is that it's improved by the time we play Forest on the 27th, which is 3 weeks today. And I think that's more realistic. But look, I'm looking forward to this game. It's nice to have United back playing football matches. The Betis game will be interesting as well. I'm interested to see how strong Cadiz and Betis are. I don't think they'll be as depleted as we are squad-wise and players at the World Cup, but will they use those players? And for United, how much rotation are we going to see from Ten Hag? Will we see youth players playing, or will we see him trying to use these players for a longer period? And as I said, I think you can add Brandon Williams into there. He's obviously going to play at left back, but the centre back and the number 10, I think they're two positions that we probably don't know who's going to play in there. Maybe Mengi at centre back, and then the number 10. I mean, look, he might play Donny van der Beek as the number 10, and then put a Charlie Savage or something like that in the midfield. I certainly think he'll mix it up. But I'm interested to see how it plans out. I'm looking forward to it. Remember, we've got the watch along tomorrow for you as well. Very excited to see this game. Nice to have a United game. Get your thoughts in below. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like. I'll speak to you all soon.